Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. If you dropped dead right now, would your life be a joke? Would people mourn your loss, or would they just scroll past the news of your death like another piece of meaningless content on social media? Would your existence leave a dent in the world, or would you be nothing more than a forgotten name, a wasted potential, a whisper in the wind? Most of you sitting here today live like cowards, terrified of failure, terrified of rejection, terrified of taking risks. You spend your days scrolling, whining, making excuses, living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for some miracle that will never come. And when you die, what will be left? A mountain of regrets? A list of things you could have done but didn't? A legacy of mediocrity. Life isn't about surviving, it's about dominating. It's about creating something so big, so powerful that even in death, your name still shakes the ground. You think the greats, those who changed history, spent their lives playing it safe? Hell no. They took risks, they sacrificed, they bled. And because of that, they became legends. So I ask you again, if you died today, would your life be a joke? If the answer is yes, then listen up, because I'm about to tell you the hard truth about what it takes to make your existence matter. You are where you are because of your weak mindset. Your life is exactly where it deserves to be because of the choices you've made and the mindset you carry. If you're broke, it's because you think like a broke person. If you're out of shape, it's because you think like a lazy person. If you're surrounded by losers, it's because you think like one of them. The world isn't unfair to you. You are unfair to yourself by allowing mediocrity to dominate your thinking. You have accepted limitations that don't exist anywhere except in your weak mind. Until you change how you think, nothing in your life will change. Most of you grew up being told to play it safe, to not take too many risks, to be realistic. That's the biggest scam in human history. Realism is just another word for fear. The people who told you to be realistic were people who failed, who never had the balls to chase their dreams, who settled for less and then spent the rest of their lives convincing others to do the same so they wouldn't feel alone. If you keep listening to them, you'll end up just like them, bitter, broken, and full of regret. A weak mindset doesn't just kill your ambition, it kills your soul. It makes you settle for an average job, an average income, an average body, an average relationship, an average life. And you know what's worse? Most people don't even realize they've lost. They think this is how life is supposed to be. They've been programmed to accept mediocrity like it's some kind of virtue. That's why they hate winners. That's why they resent success, because it reminds them of everything they could have been if they weren't so weak. Here's the truth. Success is not for the weak. Success is for those who refuse to accept limits. It's for those who see obstacles as stepping stones, not barriers. It's for those who understand that pain and struggle are part of the process. If you're not willing to endure discomfort, if you're not willing to outwork everyone else, if you're not willing to sacrifice, then don't expect anything more than a pathetic existence. You have two choices. Change your mindset or accept that your life will always be a joke. There's no middle ground. Winners think differently. They wake up every morning with purpose. They don't waste time on distractions. They don't listen to losers. They train their minds to be bulletproof. If you don't do the same, you will always be on the sidelines watching the real players dominate. So the next time you look in the mirror and wonder why your life isn't where you want it to be, don't blame the economy. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame society. Blame yourself. And then fix it. Comfort is the enemy of success. Comfort is killing you. It's making you soft, lazy, and weak. The moment you start valuing comfort over progress, you've already lost. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. They are the breeding ground for mediocrity, and most of you are addicted to them. You spend your days chasing comfort, whether it's binge watching Netflix, scrolling through social media, eating garbage food, or avoiding anything remotely difficult. And then you wonder why your life isn't where you want it to be. Success and comfort cannot exist together. The most successful people in the world did not get there by playing it safe. They pushed themselves beyond their limits. They embraced struggle. They sacrificed their comfort for a bigger vision. Do you think billionaires take weekends off? Do you think elite athletes skip training because they don't feel like it? Do you think warriors go into battle worrying about how hard it's going to be? No, they do whatever it takes. And that's why they win while the rest of the world makes excuses. The biggest problem with comfort is that it tricks you into thinking you're okay when you're actually drowning. It gives you just enough pleasure to keep you from making real changes. It's a slow death. You settle for a stable job because it pays the bills, even though it makes you miserable. You stay in a relationship that doesn't fulfill you because you're afraid of being alone. You avoid taking risks because failure would be uncomfortable. And before you know it, years have passed and you're stuck in a life you never wanted. Greatness requires discomfort. It demands that you step into the unknown, that you face failure, that you take risks. If you aren't willing to be uncomfortable, you aren't willing to be great, period. Every successful person has suffered. Every champion has been through hell. But the difference between them and you is that they embraced it. They saw pain as a requirement, not a punishment. They didn't run from struggle. They ran toward it. If you want to be successful, you have to rewire your brain to crave discomfort. You have to put yourself in situations where you are forced to grow. You have to destroy the habits that make you comfortable and replace them with habits that push you forward. Because the moment you stop challenging yourself, you start dying. So ask yourself right now, are you choosing comfort over your dreams? If the answer is yes, then don't be surprised when you wake up one day and realize you wasted your entire life. Fear is a liar that keeps you small. Fear is the invisible chain that keeps you locked in mediocrity. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you'll embarrass yourself. It makes you hesitate. It makes you second guess your potential. And because of that, it keeps you small. Most of you are living half lives because you let fear control you. You don't take action. You don't chase your dream. You don't speak up. You don't take risks. You let fear dictate everything, and that's why you're stuck. What most people don't realize is that fear isn't real. It's a construct of your weak mind. Fear is just your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. It's an outdated survival mechanism designed to keep you alive, but in the modern world, it's the very thing that's killing you. You fear failure, but failure isn't deadly. It's necessary. You fear rejection, but rejection won't kill you. It will make you stronger. You fear taking risks, but the real risk is staying where you are, doing nothing, achieving nothing. Look at the people you admire, the ones who have built empires, created legacies, and changed history. Do you think they were fearless? Of course not. They had fear, but they refused to let it stop them. They pushed through. They understood that fear is just an illusion, a test, a barrier that separates the weak from the strong. And every time they overcame it, they became more powerful. Every time they faced their fears, they expanded their limits. And that's exactly why they're legends, while most people remain nobodies. The problem is that you've spent your whole life avoiding fear instead of confronting it. You stay in the safe zone where nothing grows, where nothing great happens. You let fear control your choices, and as a result, you live a small, insignificant life. But here's the truth. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. The life you dream of, the success you crave, the impact you want to make, it's all waiting for you. But you have to be willing to walk through the fire to get it. The only way to kill fear is with action. You have to do the very things that scare you. You have to step into discomfort. You have to train yourself to see fear as a green light, not a stop sign. Every time fear shows up, it's an opportunity to grow, to expand, to level up. The more you face it, the less power it has over you. And eventually you become unstoppable. So ask yourself, what is fear stopping you from doing? What dreams have you abandoned because you were too afraid to fail? What kind of life could you have if you stopped letting fear control you? The choice is simple. Either you kill your fear or your fear kills your potential. Your friends and family are holding you back. Most people fail because they're surrounded by losers. It's that simple. You can have all the ambition in the world, but you spend your time with people who have no goals, no drive, and no hunger for success, you will become just like them. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's your future. If they're broke, lazy, and negative, guess what? That's exactly where you're headed. The harsh reality is that your friends and family don't always want you to succeed. They may love you, but that doesn't mean they believe in you. Most of the time, they're projecting their own fears and insecurities onto you. They see you trying to rise, and it makes them uncomfortable because it reminds them of everything they didn't do. So they try to hold you back. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes without even realizing it. They tell you to be realistic. They say things like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Or what if it doesn't work?" And before you know it, you start doubting yourself. You cannot afford to let small-minded people influence your destiny. If the people around you aren't pushing you to be better, to work harder, to dream bigger, then they are dead weight, and dead weight needs to be dropped. This doesn't mean you have to hate them, but it does mean you have to distance yourself. Success requires sacrifice, and sometimes that sacrifice is cutting off the people who are holding you back. The truth is, the higher you climb, the lonelier it gets. That's because most people are content with being average, and when you start striving for greatness, you separate yourself from the pack. The good news? There are others out there who think like you, who want more, who refuse to settle. You need to find those people. You need to surround yourself with winners. Winners talk about ideas, strategies, opportunities. Losers talk about gossip, drama, and why life is unfair. If your circle isn't discussing success, business, personal growth, and legacy building, then you're in the wrong circle. Change your environment and you will change your life. The bottom line, if your friends and family are keeping you small, if they aren't pushing you to be the best version of yourself, if they're constantly filling your head with doubt, then you have 2 choices. Stay with them and stay average, or cut them off and rise. The decision is yours. You are a slave to your excuses. Excuses are the chains that keep you locked in a pathetic, underwhelming life. Every single one of you has a list of excuses for why you're not where you want to be. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right connections. I wasn't born into wealth. I don't have time. Shut up. Nobody cares. The truth is, you're not successful because you don't want it badly enough. If you really wanted to win, you'd find a way. Instead, you're sitting around making up reasons to justify your failure. Excuses are nothing but lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. They give you permission to stay weak, to stay broke, to stay average. You look at successful people and tell yourself they had advantages you didn't. You convince yourself that the game is rigged, that the system is against you, that you were dealt a bad hand. But here's the reality. Plenty of people started with less than you and still made it. They didn't waste time complaining. They worked, they sacrificed, and they figured it out. Meanwhile, you're sitting on the sidelines blaming everything except yourself. If you want to change your life, the first step is taking 100% responsibility. No more blaming, no more whining, no more excuses. Own everything. Your financial situation, your fault. Your body, your fault. Your relationships, your fault. Your entire life, your fault. Until you accept that, you will never be free. Because as long as you keep making excuses, you're giving away your power. You're telling yourself that you're not in control, that life is happening to you instead of because of you. The most successful people in the world don't make excuses. They find solutions. They don't sit around complaining about their problems. They attack them. They don't cry about obstacles. They smash through them. That's why they win while everyone else loses. They understand that success isn't about fairness, luck, or perfect circumstances. It's about mindset, discipline, and relentless action. And most of you don't have that because you're too busy making excuses for why you can't succeed. You have two options: keep making excuses and stay exactly where you are, or take control of your life and do whatever it takes to win. Excuses won't pay your bills. Excuses won't make you rich. Excuses won't build your legacy. Only action will. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, ask yourself this: do I want to stay a loser or do I want to win? Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. The world doesn't care about your excuses, and neither do I. Either you get up and do something about your life, or you accept the fact that you'll never be anything more than a footnote in history. It's that simple. The world doesn't owe you anything. You have to take it. If you think the world owes you something, you've already lost. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success on a silver platter. The world does not care about your struggles, your hardships, or your problems. It doesn't care that you grew up poor, that you had bad parents, or that life has been unfair. All it cares about is one thing: what can you bring to the table? If the answer is nothing, then you get nothing. Most of you have been brainwashed into believing that life should be fair. You think that if you work hard, things should automatically go your way. Guess what? That's not how the world works. Life is a brutal, unforgiving battlefield where only the strong survive. If you sit around waiting for someone to give you a break, you'll be waiting forever. The only way to win in this world is to take what you want. You have to be aggressive. You have to be relentless. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes. The most successful people in history didn't sit around waiting for permission. They didn't wait for perfect circumstances. They didn't hope that life would be fair to them. They saw what they wanted and they took it. They fought, they bled, they sacrificed, but they got what they came for. Meanwhile, the weak ones, the ones who waited, the ones who made excuses, got left behind. And that's exactly what will happen to you if you don't wake up. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you haven't taken control. You're still waiting. You're still hoping. You're still thinking that someday, somehow, things will magically change for you. They won't. The only thing that will change your life is you. The moment you decide to stop waiting and start taking action, everything shifts. But as long as you keep believing that life owes you something, you'll stay broke, weak, and forgotten. You want success? Take it. You want wealth? Take it. You want power, respect, freedom? Take it. But taking means sacrifice. It means putting in the work when no one is watching. It means grinding while everyone else is sleeping. It means doing the things others aren't willing to do. Most of you won't do it because you're too soft, too comfortable, too entitled. And that's why most people fail. The bottom line, the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. Either you go out and take what you want, or you sit back and watch others live the life you could have had. The choice is yours. But if you choose to do nothing, don't cry when you end up with nothing, because that's exactly what you deserve.